Welcome to the guided tour of the intermediate trombone method by Brian Kay. Thank you for taking a look. I'm Brian Kay. I'm a trombonist and brass instrument instructor based in Natick, Massachusetts. I first started putting this book together over 20 years ago. I was teaching at the New England Conservatory Preparatory Division and also teaching private lessons in a few Boston suburban public school settings. I wanted to have an intermediate level book for my own private teaching that could be worked straight through on a page-by-page basis that would have a variety of challenges. Here are the core skills that this book addresses. Range building from D to F, and a little bit of F sharp and G. Syncopation. Swing rhythms. 6/8 rhythms. The keys of A flat, C, G, and D. Trombone legato, and also pieces of increasing length and endurance demands. Before starting this book, a student should have solidly completed 2 volumes of a good beginning band method, such as Accent and Achievement or the equivalent. Let's take a look inside the Intermediate Trombone Method, Volume 1. The book is comprised of 12 2-page lesson groups. Here's a place to record and celebrate your students' progress. One of my students calls it the congratulations page. I think most private teachers will have their own warm-ups and won't necessarily use this one, but it's here at the very least for reference. The thing I wanted to mention is that the range and endurance demands in this book do increase on a pretty steep curve. So something along the lines of the range building slurs at the bottom of this page will help a student be ready for the higher notes when they come up in the book. A student doesn't necessarily need to be able to play these higher slurs in the bottom 2 lines to start the book, but they do want to be working towards these notes by the middle of the book. Sometimes I'll have a student start all the higher slurs from the bottom and T-tongue the notes with flow instead of slurring them, so they can get started on building this range. Let's take a look at the body of the book. The 2-page lesson groups follow a consistent format. At the lower left is generally the most musically substantial of the set. On the upper right is a chance for student and teacher to work on trombone legato. I tried to keep printed slurs to a minimum at other parts of the page, keep the focus on being ambitious here about a true trombone legato with continuous air, a late quick slide, and a gentle legato tongue. Starting off the groups is generally a succinct etude, sometimes introducing something that might be new to a player, such as the D sharp here, and the G sharp and the A sharp. Finishing up the groups is always a blues scale-based riff. In this book, the blues tunes are straight 8ths unless they're specifically marked as swing. The rhythm supplement at the end of the book is an integral part of the curriculum, so let's take a look. Each of the 12 rhythm supplements correspond with the lesson group of the same number. Each rhythm supplement includes a 4/4 or 3/4 type rhythm, a 6/8 type rhythm, and a swing rhythm. New rhythmic ideas often appear in the rhythm supplement, a lesson or group before they appear in the body of the book. The official way to do the rhythm supplement is for the student to write in the counting with a system such as 1-ianda, and then to say the rhythm on a syllable like ta as they tap or clap the beat. Writing in the rhythm helps you make sure your student understands intellectually how to break down and analyze rhythms. If your student needs a lip break in the middle of a lesson, that's a good time to hit the rhythm supplement. Let's trace a few rhythms through the supplement. This book really endeavors to help your students get strong in syncopation. It's first introduced in Group 1 in the form of offbeats. In Group 2, we have it written out in quarter note form, and then further developed with different syncopation groups of different lengths in Group 3. In Group 4, syncopation jumps over to the swing section of the rhythm supplement, first with empty downbeats, and then continued on in swing syncopation. 6/8 rhythms are first introduced in their simplest possible form. I'd encourage you to have your students do these in the slower version, tapping every 8th note, and also in the faster 6/8, tapping 2 to a measure. By the way, as a fun alternative when doing the rhythm supplements, you could have a student play the rhythm on a note of their choice, and then add scale degrees one at a time to use the rhythms as a basis for improvisation. Group 2 continues the offbeat work we had in the rhythm supplement from Group 1. And it's a little bit shorter of a group to allow extra time and focus on legato, spending time with good trombone legato in number 3 and 4. Group 3 introduces the key of C, and it develops the chromatic work we started in Group 1. It brings in the 6/8 time that we've been covering in the rhythm supplements, and it reinforces the offbeats we've had. And the entertainer brings all the syncopation work we've done up to this point together. At the intermediate level, it's very possible that this will be the second time a person's working on the entertainer, but I think it's a good tune to hit a second time. Group 4 continues the work you've done in working on the key of C by introducing the key of G. And the B section of Hava Nagila hits some cut time level syncopated rhythms. The work you've done in the warm-up, working on your range, you'll start to draw on now with the syncopated still study crossing into the E flat, as well as Rosie Medra, the hymn tune. The blues has pretty complex little syncopation, and again, all the blues riffs in this book are straight eights unless otherwise marked as swing. Group 5 really gets to the heart of the intermediate level with longer, higher pieces in more advanced keys. And with the 16 notes in Eine kleine Nachtmusik, it might be a good idea to make your own mini exercise out of these 16ths to loop them and get your student ready. And we see for the first time swing in the body of the book, but it's been well prepared in the rhythm supplements. And again, back to straight eights for the C blues. Group 6 provides a nice opportunity to take a little bit of a break from the heavy pace of challenges we've had up to this point and just enjoy the joy of having a little more technique for a player and have fun playing some of these tunes. The slide study at the top is a little bit of a new concept. Most trombone teachers will recognize that the point of this 1A, is to go from stopping in each slide position to a point of being fast enough that you can glide through the positions. And alternatively, you could simply just loop these 16th notes going from medium speed to faster. Number 1B is more of a slide pumping exercise, assuming you don't have a trigger. If a person has a trigger, it's still actually a pretty good coordination exercise for the left thumb if you have the F attachment trigger. And the swing tune, we're the first time we've had a blues that's in swing, and I think it's kind of a fun one to play slide technique-wise as well. Groups 7, 8, 9, and 10 continue on in the same manner, providing a breadth and depth of experience. The Rigadoon and the USA National Anthem definitely present a little bit of an endurance challenge, but a good one. The Bach Bourrée has a nice musical sophistication to it. The Susato in Group 9 definitely presents a pretty heavy endurance challenge. So there's a real sense of satisfaction in being able to do this and getting ready for the push to the end of the book. And low notes here, I would probably in a lesson cover those in the middle after my student was ready for a little bit of a lip break. The Ride of the Valkyries, I think a lot of students would probably play this a little on the slow side. I think that's fine. It's just great to introduce this trombone warhorse. The rhythm supplement does continue to be an integral part of this book and a welcome opportunity to take a lip break during a lesson. Group 11 brings in the high G and the high F sharp for this group only. And the idea here is in part that part of getting comfortable with the Fs is not having it be your very highest note, being able to play just a little bit higher. And then with Wensi and the Mountain King, we have a little bit of a fun break. Wensi is not hard compared to some of what we've been doing. And the Mountain King can be challenging, but it's also a lot of fun. The Algerian song is actually in some ways is a bit meant to be a little bit of a mental endurance test because of its length and the repetitions of the rhythm. Group 12 is meant to look physically imposing and intimidating, kind of like the giant wall in an army obstacle course. Something that seems insurmountable at first, but ends up being a confidence booster and a memorable life experience. Kids might think, I'm never going to get this, but then they do it. You work through it together, and it's a real sense of achievement. It really is 100% doable for a student who has worked solidly through the book. I've been using a version of this book in my own teaching for over 20 years now, and every single student who made it as far as Group 11 also passed Group 12. In general, students who start this book overwhelmingly tend to finish it. This book has been a real boost to motivation and momentum in my own teaching. Passing William Tell might easily take them a few lessons, though. Pacing in general for this book is that passing a lesson group every 2 lessons is doing well for a good student. So to use a golf analogy, this book is par 2. The ideal lesson time length for this book is definitely 45 minutes or an hour, something more than 30 minutes. Looking at the rest of the group, the Arbenz etude is pretty long as well, but once you've gotten through the William Tell, there's no stopping you. The shave and a haircut 2 bits bit at the end is meant to be a fun and lighthearted way to cap off the book. I like to push my students to keep the volume at a true fortissimo all the way through the low G, and then get a true pianissimo on the last 2 notes. It really is surprisingly hard to get both of those on the same take, but it's a fun last little test and another little confidence boost to get through it. In my own teaching, when we put a check mark by a piece to mark it done, that means my student played it with correct notes, correct rhythm, steady beat, and no fumbles. Or virtually no fumbles, rounded down to 0. We call that check quality. Correct notes, correct rhythm, steady beat, no fumbles. That well-defined standard gives students something to shoot for, and that means there's a well-earned sense of accomplishment when items in lesson groups and eventually entire books are checked off. Thanks so much for watching this guided tour of my Intermediate Trombone Method Volume 1. I hope you'll be interested in giving it a try in your own teaching. You can order your own copy on my website, brassstages.com. You can get the book in either PDF download or printed form. Volume 1 of this book is also available for euphonium, tuba, and trumpet. Volume 2 is available only for trombone. If you like this book, I think you'll enjoy Volume 2 also. It provides a wealth of experience at the upper intermediate or early advanced level. Thanks again for watching.